Hey guys, welcome to FPP Labs Radio. My name is Jim, KN4YCD, and today I want to go over some things we touched on in the last video. All right, guys, this is a look at the Android app. So I'm watching this on a Samsung tablet, a Galaxy Tab, I don't know, 2 or 3 year old model Galaxy Tab. And the app will work on a phone. I've used it on my wife's old S7 Edge, and that worked fine as well. So I don't think we're particularly tied to a specific app. So the tablet's already connected via Bluetooth to the radio, and as you can see down here on the bottom, we have various settings: low power, medium power, high power. So we can change those as we desire. We can go to single channel instead of dual channel. Let me go and pick 2 channels and then go to dual channel. And as you can see up there in the top left corner, it shows us the VHF simplex and the APRS frequency, because that's what I have picked. You can go back to single channel, and all that works just exactly like you'd think it does. The channel, this holds 16 channels, so you're going to set the channels to whatever you want, and basically that's it for setting channels. So if you live in an area with a lot of repeaters, this may not be the best thing for you. Now, I don't have a good way to show you my mouse cursor. It's not recording. I don't think it's going to record on the app, even though I'm going to try. I can't. Yeah, it's just sharing the screen. I can't drag the mouse on that. So I'm just going to have to describe where to look. If I was a real YouTube personality, I'd have some sort of blinking hingus that you could look at, but there you go. So up on the top right there under that little arrow next to where it says VR-N7500, there's some icons there. So that first icon is our battery status, and as you can see, the battery's, it's on power. The next icon is what region we're in, and any device channels you want to import. I don't think, yeah, the radio is locked to region 1, so you can't change that. The next icon over that looks like a little radio is FM radio, if you wanted to listen to that. And then I'm going to skip the next to the last, and then the last icon just turns the device, the mobile device audio on and off. That enables and disables you getting the radio audio out of the mobile device. And this screen is pretty straightforward. There's nothing real interesting in that screen. So now let's look at the settings. And when we get to the main device settings, now we have a few more options. So this has obviously your volume and squelch level. You have 10 digital stops for squelch. You can't set it halfway. It's going to go to a full number no matter where you push on it. So there's that. The radio itself has a speaker in it, so you can have audio come out the radio speaker as well as your device. So it'd be like, you know, poor man's stereo kind of thing. It also has, if you use the wired mic, you can use it as a microphone speaker, a speaker mic. English is hard for me some days. So, and that's pretty straightforward. Then if you go into general settings, this is where things can get a little tricky, and some of this is standard for any radio. Some of it is tricky. A lot of it is stuff you've already seen if you've ever programmed an HT or a mobile radio of any sort. This does do APRS, so we can share our location. We have transmit time limit, hold time, PTT, follow tone, which I have off, tail elimination on the repeater, which I have on, audio relay. So I have yet to actually find some good documentation on this radio that will let me see how audio relay works and what it's for. But if you turn it on and anyone keys up on whatever channel you're on, it rebroadcasts it. So I think it would be for some sort of store and forward kind of deal, like a crossband repeater setup or something. I'm not entirely sure. It's kind of strange. Of course, mic gain, wireless mic gain if you're using the handheld Bluetooth mic. The headphone mode is either, that gives us an option of either voice or call mode. Most of the time, you're going to leave that in headphone mode, in voice mode. Keep the headset connected if you have a headset on it. Tones, power saving mode, all this stuff is pretty much standard. And really, the purpose of the video is not to walk through all the settings on this thing, because that's kind of boring. I really want to show you just the differences between the Android app and the iOS version of this app. So I'm going to kind of zoom through this a little bit. Then there's some basic radio information down here, battery, firmware version, so on and so forth. It will check if you're online. The app will check and connect and see if there's a firmware update. I haven't tried that user manual button. Does that actually do anything? That takes us to a web page. Yeah, I think I did try this, and it doesn't ever want to come up, because it goes to this weird website that I think my Pi-hole is blocking. We'll let it load a second, but I think it's gonna choke out. We'll come back to that. Yeah, it's not loading. So you can scan. You can set it up to scan for Bluetooth devices. This will. That was the speaker mic lady. It will audio out to anything that can act as a Bluetooth speaker. So your earbuds, a remote speaker, your car, so on and so forth. The other thing you can do, if you go in here and look at scan, obviously it will scan channels. I don't have a scan list set up, so I'm not going to go through all that. Okay, I don't know what it did. Something there. I think the speaker mic shut it off because I hadn't mashed any buttons. So that's basically the settings. The company has a website you can create a login for, and it will do like a Zello function, a voice over IP kind of deal. If you're interested in doing that, I have not played with that at all. If we look at the map, it pulls up Google Maps. You can see where things are around you as part of your APRS data. By pressing on the button up here in the corner, that gets us back to the main operation screen. And that's over here on the right side are different options for what you're doing with the radio. And you can see this is where it recorded my voice and saved it. But anyway, that's what the iOS app looks like. And there's a lot more functionality in the iOS app. And like I said, I didn't necessarily want to get real deep in these apps at all specifically. I really wanted to just to show you guys the basic differences between iOS and Android apps. Okay, so here is the iOS app, as noted by the little Apple logo down in the corner. Obviously the menu looks completely different. So up in the upper right corner, we've got some icons that gives you information about map settings, whether you want maps, satellite, or hybrid. We can make this a favorite view. Hitting the arrow button gets your current location and also changes your orientation on the map. So we'll make all that go away. And the main menu on this application is down in the bottom left corner, right above the Apple Maps logo, and that little bar takes you to the main menu. Now I already have this kind of set up on iOS, so I'm not going to walk through all the settings. I already said I wasn't going to. I just want to show you the app. So this is the APRS settings. This is very similar on this piece to the Android version of the app. If we jump into the radio piece, you can see that the layout is completely different. I have not been able to get this to go to full screen on the phone. When you pull up the control interface like this, it also does this partial screen, and Android did that the same way. I think this screen layout here looks a little better. Now there's a lot of spelling errors and things because they have height power down there on high power. But the app is laid out here fairly similarly. You can press and hold on a channel button, and then you can put in information for whatever channel you want, any settings, PL tones, so on and so forth. Is this in the scan group, what the bandwidth is, so on and so forth. And all that stuff is the same, obviously, in all the apps. Where it gets a little different is if you go into the settings by hitting the settings icon, we have not nearly as many settings in here as you do in the Android version. And that's really the big thing. And I don't understand that. I've looked and looked and looked through this thing, and just there's a bunch of the settings that aren't there. The ones that have to be there are there for the most part, but it seems to be missing a few things. It does have that audio relay function right there. We don't want to turn that on because that's the thing that makes it repeat back. If I ever get a copy of the book, I will, or the manual for this thing, I'll post it in the comments for this video. You know, the app is laid out differently. The settings aren't exactly the same. Some things seem to work a little differently. You know, all in all, both apps work. Neither one of them is a great app. They're not stellar. They do their job. And honestly, other than changing power levels, once you have 16 channels programmed, it's a matter on the microphone, whether you're using the PTT mic or the wired mic or the Bluetooth mic, or you're just using the app. All you're really going to be doing with this thing is changing channels. And like I said in my previous video, when you set up a channel, you can set high or low power in the settings so that that power setting stays with the specific channel. So if you don't need high power to talk to a repeater that's very close by, you can set it to low, vice versa, and it'll stay on low when it hits that repeater. You also have the FM radio option. I don't believe that works on iOS at all. I never could get it to do anything. It does work fine on Android. Talk around puts you on the output side of the repeater, just like any other talk around would. You can power on and off the unit from the device just fine. In my case, the physical device was already on here, and when I loaded the iOS app, it didn't change anything there, so it was already on. If you do dual channels, then it will show you in the radio setting. Here's our APRS setup stuff and what information we're sending via APRS that way. And if I hit the radio, I jump back in here. And if I actually had channels in here with dual channel, you have a 2-line display over top of the channel buttons, over the top of these. That would be a 2-line display in that area. And you can jump back and forth. It'll show you which channel is active. It'll have a little down arrow if you're receiving on the channel. It'll have a little up arrow if you are transmitting on the channel. And it'll show what channel is currently active, and you can flip back and forth. So all in all, the app, like I said, the app is not fabulous. It's not the best app I've ever seen. Either one. The Android app's probably a little more detailed in the way it's set up. But the radio for the price is pretty decent. It was $160 for the radio, and I think it was $15 to add the Bluetooth mic, which I ordered separate. And it works fine. This radio also comes with, and I mentioned this in my last video on this radio, it also, you can buy, does not come with, you can buy a Bluetooth PTT button. So with the Bluetooth PTT button, you can strap that to your hand or the steering wheel of your car, and you Bluetooth the radio into the car's radio system. You've got complete access to the radio from there going through your car audio, which is pretty cool. So anyway, guys, that's about all I have today on this. I think this video's gone on a little longer than I really wanted it to, but I just kind of wanted to walk through the setup, the settings, and what the apps look like specifically. I'm probably going to keep playing with this with Android because I think I like the Android version better. I also have an Android tablet that I keep in my truck, so that's going to work out better for me. But either way, you can do what you need to do to get it programmed and then move on. So with that being said, guys, this is Jim, KN4YCD. Thanks for stopping by. Please be sure to hit a like and subscribe and ring that bell if you haven't. That helps make sure YouTube can help you find content you want to watch. I don't get anything special out of it. It just helps point you toward ham radio related videos in this case. All right. Have a good one.